What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Waves Weekly, series I post every Saturday where we cover recent news and current events that I believe relate to the markets. We'll take a look at a few charts, and considering I did not post a trading week recap yesterday, we will take a look at Moderna as well as some of the rest of the COVID-related biotech sector, considering they had an absolutely amazing day yesterday. I'm sure you guys already know that. If you did happen to catch the video I posted yesterday talking about how I made 18K on my Robinhood account, then you saw it. There's not much to talk about there, but I just want to say that I'm so happy to share this experience with you guys. I know reading through the comments and obviously if you guys have been tuning in, there's no way that you don't have at least somewhat of a position in one of these stocks, which all did pretty good yesterday. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'm so happy to share the experience of days like yesterday with you guys, knowing that not just I'm winning. Again, love money, love winning, love being right. But sharing the experience with you guys is so much more fulfilling, and knowing you guys are winning makes days like yesterday feel so much better. So I really just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in and showing continued support and engagement and whatnot. And I'm just so happy about the community that we're building here. All right, so before we do get into the video, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link in the description if you're interested. All right, so as always, Waves Weekly style, we will go over each topic that we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. All right, so again, kick it off with Moderna. We're actually only going to look at Moderna charts. I will give you guys my brief thoughts on all of the players within this, or at least right here on the watch list, as you can see. Not going to look at the charts. That's for tomorrow on Sunday Stock Watch. I mean, those are the stocks I've been watching, you guys know that, but definitely going to be watching those very closely next week, especially because I have a lot of positions at stake right now. So over the course of next week, we're going to be making stock talks on this. I'll keep you guys posted. It's a very exciting time in the sector. So yeah, we'll kick it off with this. We will then move on to some earnings. So I want to talk to you guys about Netflix earnings and how I feel that will affect the tech sector. We'll then keep it earnings. Goldman earnings, bank earnings, not just Goldman. I'm going to cover Goldman's in this one, but I want to talk to you guys about why I think what sketchiness I saw within these earnings, and I want to let you guys know how I think that will impact the financial markets overall. Okay, so we'll cover that, and then we will get on to arguably the biggest news of this week. I'm sure you guys have heard about it already. We'll keep this quick. These are all CNBC articles, so big shout out to CNBC for just making these key points that I could read out to you guys to sum it up and then just rant on them, give you guys my thoughts. But I think this definitely has an impact on investor sentiment, and I will explain why. We will use this because this was a Bitcoin hack, at least allegedly, to segue into our final topic, which is PayPal reveals that it is developing crypto capabilities. Okay, so in Waves Weekly we got to talk crypto, we got to talk Bitcoin, so we'll finish it off with that, and yeah, and then we'll call it there. So let's kick this off with Moderna. Yeah, Moderna closed out the day up almost 16%. I mean, so crazy. It feels so good to have what we've been expecting to actually play out and come to fruition. Okay, so Moderna, if we just do it, it's just been following this channel so nicely. Obviously, again, I can't reiterate this enough. This sector is so news driven. It's not just following technical patterns. Like these technicals, again, always you guys, fundamentals prior to technicals, especially within this sector. Obviously got the news. If you guys didn't catch the Moderna video, go check that out where I talk about the specific news that they dropped in regard to going on to, they're starting phase 3 clinical trials soon. That's a huge deal. They're going to be testing on 30,000 people, 15K placebo, 15K actually getting the vaccine. So Moderna is hands down the leader within this space. There's no argument there. That is objective. Although again, I'm still bullish. In the article I talked about in the Moderna video, there's everyone believes, everyone within this space who understands it knows that there can't just be one manufacturer of this vaccine. Even if Moderna does establish an effective vaccine, they will very likely contract some of these other players to manufacture them, just because you have to create billions of doses. That's not easy. That takes time. So keep in mind, guys, there could be multiple winners within the space. It's just objectively Moderna is in the lead right now. To sum this up, you guys know what I think in regard to Moderna. Nothing's really changed. I do think that it will use this middle line as a line of support. I'd be very surprised if it does fall below this. If it does happen to pull back down to this $82-ish, 80, 82, 84, whatever region you guys can see here. Remember, you guys, trend lines are always rough estimates. But if it pulls back to $80, I will 100% probably double down on my Moderna position, because I do think I'm so confident. Remember, you guys know the deal. This could very well not happen. This could easily not happen. This thing could pull back because it's already gone super far. Okay, it's already made a lot of gains. So this thing could very likely pull back. Know that my money's on the fact that we will come back up to test this line of support. up around the 115, 110, 115-ish dollar region. Okay, so very bullish on Moderna right now. I mean, Novia was up too. Again, I'm going to save these for tomorrow because these are the stocks to watch next week. So we will look at these tomorrow. Novavax actually beat Moderna yesterday. I mean, hashtag Novavax 150. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. So Novavax is probably the most fulfilled, I feel, in regards to my abilities to dictate a chart and read a chart. So again, you guys, there is always some luck involved, but it's just a factor of doing this for so long. You just kind of see patterns and you can guess what's going to happen. But I'm super pumped to see Novavax playing out. I mean, they killed it yesterday. I did reduce my Novavax position pretty significantly, considering, I mean, I had a $150 price target, but 140, I think it hit like 144 at one point in the day. So that's good enough for me. I pulled a decent amount of my position off the table. If it does hit 150, I will reduce it even more. But I think it's definitely possible for it to hit 150 still. Sorrento only up like 4%. At one point in the day, I think it was up like 7 or 8 or something like that. But it just makes me happy to see Sorrento bouncing back. I'm still bullish on Sorrento fundamentally, like very bullish on Sorrento because they're tackling a treatment as opposed to a vaccine. So huge on that. BioNTech. I mean, BioNTech is still looking good in my mind, up 12%. So in third place in regard to all these vaccine companies. So BioNTech, I mean, is still looking promising as well. Vaxart was up the least, but Vaxart's has most recently seen that parabolic price action. So it's not surprising to me that they're kind of lagging behind. But I mean, again, you guys, this sector, I'm confident in the fact that this sector can act as a hedge. These save the world stocks. Retail investors love these save the world stocks right now, okay? Especially if the general equity markets are doing bad. People are going to want to reallocate their capital from equities. I mean, these are still equities, but like tech and different sectors to stocks like this where they feel they'll make gains. Okay, so we'll call it there. Again, you guys, I'm so excited about this sector. So happy to be sharing this journey with you guys, and I'll keep you posted. All right, let's move on to Netflix earnings. So Netflix shares fall after earnings miss. Weak subscriber guidance for third quarter. I'll just read these key points. Say with all of these, Netflix missed analyst expectations on earnings per share, but beat revenue expectations. The company provided weak subscriber growth guidance for the third quarter, saying growth is slowing as consumers get through the initial shock of COVID and social restrictions. The company announced that Netflix chief content officer Ted Sarandos will become co-CEO alongside the current CEO Reed Hastings. All right, so a few things to dissect here. Co-CEOs, in my experience, I can't really like pinpoint a specific example of this, but I've heard multiple situations. Again, I wish I could reference these, but just intuitively, instinctively, from what I've heard in the past, co-CEOs usually don't work out, especially for a company as large as Netflix. Maybe, you know what? Maybe because it's such a huge mega corporation, co-CEOs might work, and obviously their inner team feels this is necessary. That's why they did it. But I mean, this is a little sketchy to me. We'll see how it goes. There's obviously no telling how that will play out. So I hope for the best. I love Netflix as a platform, so hopefully it does well. But again, they're pulling guidance, as are almost every other company in the freaking world right now. I mean, COVID, with like the economic impact. Don't I say this a lot, but don't mistake the markets for the economy right now. The economy is undoubtedly in a bad place. Go watch the video I posted a few days ago talking about how I'm hedging my portfolio. I go over a few bullet points of why I believe the economy the market could see a pullback because of just all the bullets I listed out of why the economy sucks right now and is continuing to get worse. So, I mean, I'm pretty skeptical on tech and general equities at all overall. I mean, again, Netflix has been up so much because it's the epitome of a crone economy stock. Everyone's at home. Like, Netflix is the most obvious choice. It's a FANG stock, one of the biggest stocks in the world in terms of tech, in regard to tech. So, I mean, everyone and their mom has invested in Netflix at this point, I'm sure, just because it's the obvious play. And whenever something gets too obvious, that's usually a bad sign, and you're usually too late. Or not too late. Maybe you're super early and got some gains, so congrats if you did. But if I was invested in Netflix, which I'm definitely not right now, I would personally pull out. So, again, it's good. We'll just keep an eye on Netflix. Don't want to spend too long on this. We'll move on to bank earnings. So, Goldman Sachs shares a rise on earnings as earnings blow past the street on the best trading results in years. Goldman said it generated $2.42 billion in profit, or $6.26 a share, crushing estimates. So it annihilated analyst estimates. But we'll go on to explain why. It was the New York Bank's biggest earnings outperformance in nearly a decade. This is just sketch. But this is why. Revenue of $13.3 billion was more than $3.5 billion higher than the estimate, fueled by strong results in its trading and investment banking decisions. So pretty much the banks have one of the primary ways banks make money, and in this case, in this economic environment, all banks, this is their primary source of revenue aside from fees, is their investment arm. Banks are investment firms. Goldman Sachs is an investment firm. It's not just a bank. Okay, so these firms invest money. And the Fed has single-handedly pretty much inflated all these firms. So I'll read this. Goldman's earnings this quarter were too good, almost indecent in fact, says Octavio Morenzi, CEO of capital markets consultancy Optimus. The Fed has been able to engineer a huge bounce back in the markets by injecting trillions of dollars, benefiting investment banks primarily. All right, so again, don't fight the Fed. This is why you don't fight the Fed, especially if you're investing, especially if you're a bank. Banks love the Fed. Like, they need the Fed. They literally need the Fed. Banks would be out of business right now if it wasn't for the Fed injecting literally trillions of dollars into the ecosystem. Like, this crisis is so heavily exaggerating the wealth gap right now. So, like, the elite, and I'm not conspiratorial at all. Like, it's just a fact that more status, huge firms like Goldman Sachs have people, like, know people in high places. They are the high place. So with considering the Fed is printing money, and Goldman has a direct line of access to the Fed, they're boys. It makes sense that these guys are winning. And like what is happening right now, this is the perfect example of why we are in an artificial economy. And again, that is becoming common knowledge, which is good. It's good that people understand that the economy right now, or at least the markets, the banks, a lot of these big corporations are artificially inflated with nothing to back them. And when the tides pull out, everyone's going to be caught with their pants off, especially the banks. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm super skeptical on the banks. And again, banks are one of the pillars of the financial markets. What happens with the banks creates ripple effects, makes waves throughout the entire financial market, stock markets, etc. So just keep an eye on the banks. Be safe. I would personally never invest in banks, especially right now. So just be safe out there, you guys. Keep an eye on this because, again, keep an eye on banks because banks, again, they do make waves throughout the entire market. All right, let's move on to Twitter hackers who targeted Elon Musk and others received 120K in Bitcoin. Like, that's so whack. It is so whack to me that this is the approach they took. And again, that's what they say. They mask it, if it is masked, as a Bitcoin scam. A lot of suspicion is around the fact that this could be a lot more malicious, and they were going after data of many of the elites, of many of the high profile individuals that they hacked. And get into DMs, you can find very valuable information within Twitter accounts. Okay, so that is what people say. If it was a Bitcoin hack, these hackers are losers and don't have no idea what they're doing, because they could have, if you wanted Bitcoin, a better thing would have been to like go on each of the accounts they hacked and talk absolute shit about Bitcoin and then short Bitcoin prior to that. Okay, maybe they had absolutely no money and they just really needed capital. But if you have even a decent amount of capital, you could have just shorted Bitcoin and tweeted out screw Bitcoin on all those accounts and like made so much off the short, okay? So this is a very weird approach. It's weird that they took this angle. On Wednesday, the Twitter accounts of some of the most famous people in the country were compromised as part of an apparent Bitcoin scam. Their efforts, 400 payments in Bitcoin. That's for having access to pretty much all of Twitter, because that's what you reach with all of the accounts that were hacked. You get 400 payments. You scam 400 people. This scam is the oldest trick in the book. You see, like, it surprised me that people still do this because it's been around for so long. And honestly, anyone who gets scammed with this, I'm sorry, but you should get scammed. And it's whack that, so allegedly too, they're saying that the scammers sent payments to themselves to make it look like they were getting Bitcoin. So it's very likely that they actually got less than this, because that makes sense to me, at least. Because anyone who owns Bitcoin, who has an understanding of how to send Bitcoin, has to be at least somewhat tech savvy. And I have to assume not so naive to think that this is real. All right, so this is crazy. The total is a low, so I'm not going to read that. But again, a big argument here is whether this, for me at least, this is what I thought, is this good or bad for Bitcoin? It's obviously bad for Twitter. Stock wasn't changed. Nothing really matters to the stock market. Terrible news. Your platform just got hacked. Just got pretty much. These guys, Twitter got caught with their pants off in this situation. And this is the second time, one of the largest social platforms in the world with the most impact, got caught doing this. Their stock is unchanged. So just keep that in mind. But does this have a negative or positive effect on Bitcoin? The reality is I don't agree with this at all, but any press in 2020 is good press. I think we've learned that at this point. Any press is good press. Bitcoin is now known to pretty much everyone on the planet right now. Again, it's been on people's radars. Everyone kind of knows what Bitcoin is, but this just really pushed it, like literally pushed it in everyone's face. Okay, so this is definitely a lot of press for Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency sector as a whole, but we'll just have to see. Again, Bitcoin has been flat. We can take a quick look at the Bitcoin chart, but I mean, Bitcoin has been relatively flat. It's at 91 right now. I've seen a lot of analyses, technical analyses that go both ways. There's always going to be bulls and bears within the Bitcoin market. Just fundamentally, I'm a perma bear on this sector, especially considering the U.S. economy, as well as every other country in the world, is printing trillions of dollars of fiat currency, and inevitably you can't print. It may not seem like the dollar is losing value now, but it's common sense. You can't print trillions of something without it degrading in value. Okay, so Bitcoin, again, there will only ever be 21 million. There's 18 million right now. And it's a scarce asset. It is the most provenly scarce asset in the world, and that is why I'll say this as many times, because I truly believe it. Bitcoin is the single greatest investment of our generation, and yeah, like I'm just so bullish from literally every angle on Bitcoin. So it will be interesting to see. The big thing is whether Bitcoin holds a correlation to the general equity markets, like the S&P and Dow and whatnot, because it has been showing correlation. Back in March when Bitcoin crashed, everything crashed, gold even crashed. That was a liquidity crisis. So that was panic. That was true fear. But it will be interesting to see now that people are kind of expecting a crash. They're a lot more on their toes to see if safe havens like gold and Bitcoin do break correlation if the equity indexes do happen to fall. Okay, so definitely keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that correlation because that is very pivotal, and that's a crucial component in my mind as to how Bitcoin will perform over the near future. Okay, but fundamentally super bullish on it. So let's move into this. PayPal reveals that it's developing crypto capabilities. I mean, this is just like Square really led, like Jack Dorsey is the founder of Twitter, not looking too good right now, but he's the founder of Square and Cash App. Cash App is like the primary, like really the bridge. It's pretty much Venmo if you guys are unfamiliar, or PayPal. Like you can just send money to friends super easily, but they have allowed their users to buy Bitcoin, and that's so good for Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey is a Bitcoin fanatic. I think in his Twitter bio is the Bitcoin logo. He made a Bitcoin emoji for Twitter specifically. He traveled to Africa not too long ago to like preach Bitcoin. So he is a Bitcoin fanatic, and that's very bullish for Bitcoin. So that's a good sign. I'll just read this to you guys and probably rant on it a little more. Payments giant PayPal has disclosed it is developing crypto capabilities in a letter to the European Commission in March. PayPal said it is taking unilateral and tangible steps to further develop its capabilities in crypto assets area. PayPal's revelation is significant since it is said to be in the works to offer crypto buying and selling services to its over 300 million users. Okay, so there's just, I mean, this isn't like crazy news. This is great news. This is very bullish for crypto. But this is just some of the things. It's hard for me to articulate all the reasons because there's so many that I'm bullish on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency right now. Like, there's so many factors. There's massive adoption coming into play with PayPal or with cryptocurrency as a whole. Like PayPal, again, Cash App, huge app, access to Bitcoin. I mean, Robinhood, you can you can trade cryptos on Robinhood. PayPal. This is probably the biggest payments processor in the world. I mean, everyone has PayPal pretty much. And if they offer their user base access to cryptocurrencies, that there's no way that's not good for the crypto markets. Like, access is good. You want access. As long as it's on people's radar and people have the ability to buy and trade and sell, and it's just people know about it. That's the biggest thing. And then once you know about it, once you get a little invested, then the floodgates are open. You jump down the rabbit hole. I've said buy a little Bitcoin. Like, buying Bitcoin is the best investment is an investment in your education, because you will continue, like, trust me, if you buy a little bit of Bitcoin or something within the cryptocurrency realm, you will go down the rabbit hole and educate yourself. And the more, you guys, I've been doing this for years. The more I learn about Bitcoin, I used to not like Bitcoin that much. The more I learn about Bitcoin and the more I learn about the technical side of it and the true purpose that it serves as a technology, the more I like Bitcoin and the less I like a lot of other projects. I still am very bullish on a lot of other projects, but I become more and more bullish on Bitcoin and confident, and just like so confident in the fact that it's going to succeed over the long term. Again, greatest investment of our generation. I stand by that. So you guys just keep your eye on the cryptocurrency sector. I'm not telling you to do anything, but I really recommend that you do just keep your eye on it and educate yourself about this, because this will play a very pivotal role in the future of finance as a whole, because the current financial system, in my opinion, is about to be extremely disrupted. Okay, so we'll call it there, you guys. I forgot to do content of the week But I will just blurt it out now. A cool piece of content that I listened to this week is a podcast, Joe Rogan podcast. I'm sure a lot of you guys already listened to it, but it's with Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff is all tie in kind of funny. Peter Schiff is like the super irritating in a sense, and he is like he's a gold maximalist. So that dude sleeps with his gold. That dude is a real life Ebenezer Scrooge. He loves gold, but his take on the macroeconomics and the global economy and like the real shade and the reality of how flawed and just broken the current financial system is extremely impressive. And I think it's really worth the listen, especially if you're kind of newer, like you're trading. You might watch my videos for the trading side of things, but you guys, it's so important to understand the entire landscape. Trading is something that happens within this big ecosystem that is the financial markets. So you have to understand the financial markets if you want to be an effective trader and if you want to succeed as a trader, okay? So Rogan is obviously not a finance nerd. He doesn't understand it too well. So it's good to get that he asks questions that probably most people who aren't super familiar with the space would ask, and then he gets answers that are pretty easy to digest. Peter Schiff, again, be warned, he is honestly pretty irritating to listen to, but what he has to say is in my opinion, pretty solid. So again, Peter Schiff, Joe Rogan, earlier this week. Check that out. And I think we'll call it there, guys. So I'm excited to do the Sunday Stock Talk tomorrow, Sunday Stock Watch, I should say. Again, cover that sector a little deeper, let you guys know what I'm thinking. Cover some earnings that are happening next week, so stay tuned for that. Until then, always remember, you guys, take action, make waves. Peace. Later.